Welcome to Bad at Goodbyes. Each week on our show, we spotlight species from the IUCN Critically Endangered Red List. These are plants and animals with decreasing populations, nearing the edges of extinction. So we'll share species research, information, and conservation proposals. And then we'll spend part of the show opening a space for contemplation and awe. We'll perform a soundscape of gentleness, of reflection, of delight, and maybe of grieving. Without conservation activity and significant societal shift, many of these species may not survive the 21st century, and so perhaps we might acknowledge their journey with a moment of our attention, a recognition of our kinship, and with a commitment to personal and systemic change. Thank you for listening. On today's show, we consider the Uke Lily. The Uke Lily is a critically endangered flowering plant native to Eastern Asia, specifically the Amami Islands of Japan in the Pacific Ocean, located roughly 200 miles south of mainland Japan and 400 miles east of mainland China. Its scientific name is Lilium ukeyuri. The Uke Lily is a perennial herbaceous plant. Perennial categorizes plants that grow and bloom over the spring and summer, and go dormant in the autumn and winter, and return with new growth in the spring. So compare this to annuals, who complete their entire life cycle in a single year, growing, blooming, and dying within one annual cycle. Herbaceous describes plants without woody stems, so grasses, ferns, flowers, some vegetables, herbs. These are plants with soft, green, flexible stems with little to no woody tissue. So contrast that with woody plants like trees and shrubs, which do have hardened wood stems, trunks, and branches. So the Uke Lily is a perennial herbaceous plant with a growth and dormancy life cycle that lasts across multiple years, and it has green stems. From an underground bulb, it grows a single stem that can reach heights of 1 to 3 feet. A bulb is a contained subterranean plant structure that stores nutrients and energy, allowing the plant to survive its dormant periods. The bulb contains compressed stems, modified leaves holding stored food, a basal plate from which the roots emerge, and it grows a main stem or central shoot that emerges above ground, producing the leaves and the lily's flower. The Uke Lily produces one flower per individual once a year from late May to June. The flower is wildly beautiful. Large and trumpet-shaped, growing out horizontally or nodding slightly down-turned, they have 6 tepals. These are petal-like structures, which are a silky, bright white without spots or other markings. Each flower has 6 stamen, the pollen-producing male reproductive organ, with orangish, reddish, brown pollen. They have a single light greenish pistil with a rounded, domed stigma. That's the pollen-receiving top part of the female reproductive organs. We do not know who pollinates the Uke Lily, though its white coloration and trumpet-shaped flower form suggests that flying insects like moths, who have a long proboscis, that is a tongue-like structure that can reach the nectar deep in the flower's trumpet form, are likely candidates. We also do not know how their seeds are dispersed. Though given their dry fruit and their cliffside growth, it is likely that the seeds are distributed via barychory, so that's gravity. The fruit falls from the flower, its seed coat splits open, and its seeds germinate where they land. Uke Lily have a long germination cycle and can take 12 months or more to sprout. The Uke Lily is native to Eastern Asia, specifically the Japanese Amami Islands, part of the Ryukyu archipelago in Kagoshima Prefecture. Today they are found on 5 islands: Amami Oshima, Kikera-majima, Yoroshima, Ukejima, and Tsukunoshima. Across these 5 islands, it only occupies less than 8 square miles and is found exclusively on steep, sloped, rocky cliffsides, growing in the thin soil collected in the cracks of the bouldered cliffs. Botanists describe plants adapted to these kind of conditions as chasmophytes, so a plant that grows in rock fissures, cracks, on mountainous outcrops that can survive in shallow, low-nutrient soils. Here in the Amami Islands, which split off from the Eurasian plate roughly 2 million years ago, these coastal cliffsides are quartz, sandstone, mudstone, and the Uke Lily tends to grow in the upper third of these cliffs, alongside coastal grasses and low-lying salt-tolerant shrubs, clinging to these sheer slopes that rise hundreds of feet above clear turquoise ocean waters. This is a humid subtropical climate with warm, wet summers and mild winters. Summer high temperatures average in the upper 80s Fahrenheit, and winter lows only drop into the 50s. The islands receive as much as 120 inches of rainfall per year. So that's 10 feet of rain per year. The Uke Lily shares its island home with Latusia's rhododendron, Amami Ishikawa frog, Amami rabbit, banded ground gecko, Okinawa oak, Siebold's chiquapin, Ryukyu long-tailed giant rat, Anderson's crocodile newt, flying spider monkey tree fern, Oshimaki snail, Abu viper, Kuroiwa's ground gecko, Amami woodcock, Amami ring-cupped oak, black-naped tern, Amami thrush, Takunashima ebine, and many, many more. In the dream, at a distance, Nukajima cliffside. A green cloak draped over a stony sleeping titan, pinpricked with white. In the dream, spilt sugar grains in tall grasses, snowflakes on a jade tea set, soft, bright punctuation, periods and apostrophes in an emerald sentence. The loneliness in the lush. In the dream. Historically, the ukulele population has been reduced by human collection from its native wild habitat. Its large, beautiful, and sweet-smelling flowers are desirable in decorative gardening. And so, in the 19th and 20th centuries, commercial harvesting for the international bulb trade contributed significantly to the ukulele's initial decline. And this threat persists. So today, the plant is legally protected and removal from their habitat is prohibited, but there are still documented reports of poaching from protected wildernesses from as recently as 2019. In a 2009 survey of the species and their habitat, the authors explain why their report does not include location data, stating they did not, quote, place accurate GPS data in the public domain to protect the remaining plants from picking for sale on the black market, end quote. There is a kind of negative reinforcement here. The plant, long prized for its beauty, is overharvested. Now, with a dwindling population, it is considered rare, and so more highly valued and more deeply sought after for its uniqueness, its scarcity, its rarity, which then puts its wild population at even greater risk of poaching. Human infrastructure and development, specifically road construction, also threaten the species, and human-induced climate change is a long-term threat. Global warming is altering weather patterns and increasing the frequency and severity of extreme weather. The Amami Islands already see frequent typhoons, and with such a small population, a single dangerous storm could have devastating effect on the Uke Lily. Fortunately, the Uke Lily is legally protected by both the Japanese Ministry of the Environment and the Kagoshima Prefecture. Their natural habitat on Ukejima is protected, declared a prefectural natural monument in 2008. Much of its range is also protected by the Amami Gunto National Park, which was just established in 2017 and extends across multiple islands in the Amami archipelago. Nevertheless, the Uke Lily has been considered critically endangered on the IUCN Red List since 2022, and their population is currently in decline. Our most recent counts estimate that less than 400 Uke Lily remain in the wild. Information for today's show about the Uke Lily was compiled from the Amagi Town History, Culture, Industry, and Science Information Center, from Curtis's Botanical Magazine, Volume 38, from the Journal of Horticulture, Cottage Gardener, and Home Farmer, Series 3, Volume 27, from Horizon Amami, from the Journal of Phytogeography and Taxonomy, Volume 57, from the IUCN, from the Ministry of the Environment of the Government of Japan, and from Wikipedia. And so now I would like to perform some music in hopes of holding space to be in contemplation of all of the other lives with whom we share our precious earth. With this music, I do not intend to put meaning upon or extract meaning from the Uke Lily. Instead, I want this music to express my simple human awe at all other life. And so I will pause in the space of sound and reflection, and I warmly invite you to join me. I honor the life force of the Uke Lily. I will commit its human name to my record. I am so grateful to have shared time on our planet with this gorgeous being. I lament the ways in which I and my species have harmed and diminished this species. I grieve. So in the name of the Uke Lily, I pledge to reduce my consumption, my carbon footprint, and my wastefulness. I pledge to acknowledge and attempt to address the costs of my actions and my inactions. And I pledge to resist the harm of plant and animal kin or their habitat by corporations, individuals, and governments. I forever pledge my song to the witness and memory of all life, to a broad celebration of biodiversity, and to the total liberation of all beings. This has been Bad at Goodbyes. Thank you for listening. Until next time, let's take care of each other and all of our kin.